so serious magic. My name is Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull, and this is my co-host, Lino Landon.
Lino Landon here.
How are you doing, Lino?
Oh, Lino is good. Winter in Minnesota is cold, dark, and dreary.
Yes.
I'm not sure where the snow is, but it's
Winter
it's
has
rainy.
Come and gone?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's just weird. Yeah, I don't know. But today we're talking about Ravnica Allegiance's new cards, the deck that is Dwayne The Rock just The Rock, and the best cards 2018. But first, if we be serious for a moment and get you to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, or iTunes at NotSoSRSMagic, that would float our goats.
So many goats have been floated.
So many goats. So Adam, we're in spoiler season.
Yes.
This is our favorite time as podcasters because it makes our job so easy. We get to look at these awesome new cards and just give our wild opinions. You know,
we do.
It's great.
But we won't be like everybody else and do every single spoiler.
Why would we do that? Come on now.
You can get that anywhere. We'll just talk about some of our favorites.
But
we're going to talk about the mechanics first.
Ooh.
Just to get a little preview what we think of these, whether they're playable. And
sure.
Landon has some judge insight on some of these.
Just a couple.
So we'll see how this goes. Let's start with the one that was leaked early, Spectacle.
Spectacle, the stage, like the stage is that card, yeah.
The Rakdos, the red-black one, you may cast this spell for its Spectacle cost rather than its mana cost if an opponent lost life this turn. So some of it's cheaper, some of it's more expensive because they might have bigger effects, like the one example I have here, Rick's Mighty Reveler. It's a 1 red for 2/2. Spectacle, 2 black and a red. When this enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw a card. If it was the Spectacle cost was paid, instead discard your hand and draw 3 cards. So that works well with red because they're always out of cards.
Right. Too much gas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a little heavy on the mana cost. Tell us a little bit about the judging on this card.
Yeah. So Spectacle is looking like there's nothing been released for Spectacle yet that I'm aware of. But what it looks like is it's an alternate cost. So it's just alternate costs are different than additional costs. Additional costs are like kicker. You can pay kicker costs when you're casting to make cool other stuff happen. But alternate costs, they're just there. You can pay instead of. So remember, this is actually you can cast this only. Well, okay. So this is relevant because there are 2 steps during your turn that no player receives priority, which is priority is when you can cast spells and activate abilities. There are 2 steps, but no one receives priority, barring exceptional circumstances, which are the untap and cleanup steps in the turn. No one receives any priority then. So you have to make sure, it's like the whole Spectacle, if your opponent lost life this turn, your last chance to cast it is during the end step. Yep. That's the last chance to cast. And I, personally, not after the judge portion is done here, my opinion here, I think Spectacle is cool. It's exciting. It's fun. I think it'll see some play, but I don't know if it's going to be the new thing. Like, it's not the crazy new, like, wow, for me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
This still, back to judging, let's rewind just
a yeah, sure.
This does not remove timing restrictions, correct?
Not at all.
So this is a creature, you lost life.
Yeah.
I still have to play this at sorcery speed on my turn.
For all the cards we've seen so far, the answer to that question is no, it does not break timing restrictions. But there may be. I mean, we don't know yet.
We don't know. There might be.
Right? But for all we've seen so far and for what Spectacle itself says, no, you have to cast this spell when you can cast this spell normally.
And when Landon was talking about we haven't seen any rulings on this, right after they spoil all the cards, Wizards releases a release notes.
Right.
Which goes through special cases and maybe special rulings.
And they actually update the CR, the rules, comprehensive rules. Yeah, so and us judges will get a whole big slew of new things. Even they might even update the infraction procedure guides and the tournament rules because all these new effects do affect not only just the rules themselves but the infractions and other things.
Yeah. So do I think this is playable? Not really. I mean, we haven't seen everything yet. This particular one, 4 mana to get a 2/2 and draw 3 cards. Right. Red would probably like that, but black gets draw cards.
Yeah.
So it's a little harder.
I'm not excited about this as much as I think I would. But it's not my least favorite, to be fair.
No.
My least favorite is the next one.
Okay, let's have you talk about this one.
Well, this is called Addendum. It's the Azorius, which is the white-blue colors. And Addendum says, if you cast a spell during your main phase, it has additional X effects. So, for example, the card we have here, Sphinx's Insight. It's an instant. It's 2 and white and blue. And instant says draw 2 cards. And then it has Addendum. If you cast a spell during your main phase, you gain 2 life. So you draw 2 and gain 2. There's really not a whole lot of judge talking here. This is an if you do so. So it's just going to check. I mean, like when you cast a spell, if the conditions are met, you will get the extra fun thing. That's kind of where we're at with this. This is pretty cut and dry. I mean, obviously, if you cast this spell during your opponent's end step, you're not going to gain 2 life. And
Right.
It's just kind of,
Right.
And it clearly says during your main phase, not their main phase.
Right.
So that's also important to note. I mean, talk to me here.
It's a very different take for Azorius. We had mentioned Sphinx's Revelation last week as the old card that was big. Well, Sphinx's Insight,
right?
That Insight Revelation.
That we were kind of right.
Is the same word,
Yeah.
and this is the same rate because Sphinx's Revelation was blue, white, X, gain, draw X, and gain X. Well, this is draw 2, gain 2.
Yep.
That's the same rate.
Interesting.
However, sorcery speed to do that.
Right.
It's a very different take on Azorius. I'm not sure. Blue-white control doesn't like this main phase sort of stuff. It's draw go, it's Teferi, untap, do things on your turn.
Well, and that's the thing is playing a spell at instant speed has always been the precedent, right? At the end of your opponent's turn. That's always, and it's just better. It just is. Using your mana efficiently. And while they have the least amount of information, the least amount of chance to interact with you as possible, that's always been the best thing to do. So, do I think this will be played? No, I don't. I don't think, and if it is played, I don't think it'll be played because of Addendum.
Right. I do think it will be played. Not this specific card, but other Addendum cards because they give options.
Right.
And blue-white and control and players in general like options. Like the other one that draw 7 or shuffle your hand in graveyard, draw 7, place a
emergency powers. Yeah.
And the Addendum place a card with CMC 7, I think, onto the battlefield.
Yeah, I think
probably not going to get played main phase.
No, I agree with that. But I think that, and even in standard, that card, I don't know. But in Commander, oh man, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. Definitely.
So I think you're going to have situations where you'll do the Addendum. This card will pretend it's playable. It's possibly playable. It comes in against red because you gain that 2 life.
I suppose it's relevant there, yeah.
That 2 life could be relevant. It could be it saves you from a turn. It saves you from a shock.
Right.
It saves you from 2/3 of a lightning strike.
Right.
Or Wizard's Retort.
Yep.
Wizard's Lightning, not Wizard's Retort.
Yeah.
So whether this is playable, I don't know. It's playing because they're doing a whole different thing with Azorius in this one. They've got the Thopters, the Dovan Bond's different than usual blue-white control.
That is true. That Dovan Bond is really interesting.
Yeah, that's coming up.
Okay, all right.
We'll save that for later. No spoilers!
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's an interesting take. I'm glad they're doing something different rather than control go. And I think a lot of people will like that because not everybody likes to play against control. And it's tiring to play the same form of control. Play against the same sort of control all the time.
Yeah. I think it's also important to note that Wizards is not... I mean, you have a valid point. Playing against control isn't the most fun thing in the world. But ultimately, my kind of mantra for playing, especially when I play Commander or Legacy or Vintage, formats that are really broken, I have to think to myself, you have an Emrakul on turn 3. I hate that. But also, these cards were printed by Wizards.
Yeah.
These cards are legal to play. You know what I mean? So, as much as it sucks to play against control, I feel like you have to keep into account that this card was not printed because Wizards is trying to be more... nice. It's just, you know what I mean? I feel like it's just...
I'm not saying they're being nice or anything. I think they're being more varied because you have Jeskai control, you have Dimir control, you have blue-white control right now, which will be Azorius control.
Right.
But with this set, they're changing up what control means for this guild. We'll still have variations of control that are different than this. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are still going to be draw, go, do everything on your turn, just playing the Addendum cards without using the Addendum. Yeah. We'll see.
I hear you.
I think it's just going to give options.
And options are always good. That's the thing.
Some of them will have the Addendum played because it's a decent effect. This specific one, I don't think so.
Yeah, same here.
Now on to Cynic, which is the blue-green guild. Adapt. If this creature has no +1/+1 counters on it, put N+1 counters on it.
So hang on. I'm having flashbacks. Am I having flashbacks in the correct moment here, Adam?
To Theros Black?
Perhaps. So
back in time.
so I mean, I want to read real quick. This is straight out of the CR, which is a comprehensive rules. Monstrosity reads: if this permanent isn't monstrous, put N+1/+1 counters on it, and it becomes monstrous.
If this creature has no +1 counters on it, put N +1 counters on it. Oh.
So I feel like those are a lot of
Yes.
People are rightly saying, "Wow, all right, Wizards, all right, come on now." I love how the Wizards team is once they printed Copycat Combo, they were like, "Oh no, we made a mistake.
Yeah,
we're sorry," and they're like, "We're gonna go back to the drawing board." And now there's not really any broken combos, but they just reprinted Monstrous in Standard and have not realized until meow.
No, they realized it. Mark Rosewater admitted that, or had said some mechanics would be returning, not necessarily from the Ravnica blocks, but just returning mechanics in general. They consider Adapt the returning mechanic.
Okay.
It is Monstrosity. They just tweaked it. They basically fixed it. Because Monstrosity has, if this creature isn't monstrous,
right?
But there's no indication of what makes it monstrous. Adapt says, if this has no 1/1 counters on it. So it's fixing that memory issue.
Sure.
Yes, it is no different.
Right.
We also haven't seen any cards where Monstrosity had, when this becomes monstrous, it gets, the cat, gets hexproof.
Yeah, Fleece Mainline.
And Indestructible, or Pelucranos,
right.
which deals damage.
Which I enjoyed more, because it was sorry, we're still talking Judge Talks here, but if skipping forward a little bit, I liked Monstrosity a lot, because it was this weird thing that provided more than just counters, you know?
I think we'll get there. I think there
Hopefully.
will be some of those.
I would love that.
The other thing that's going to happen is there's going to be cards that care about removing counters or eating them in some way and doing that.
Right.
We haven't seen that.
Well, that's Simic for you.
Yeah, and this one, the one we've seen, the best Adapt one is this Zagana, which each creature you control with +1 counters has Trample, which isn't great.
Yeah, no. The thing is, I'm not... We have seen the spoilers for a couple of big fatty Simic cards.
Yeah.
The Jellyfish Boy it's pretty thick if it comes in with the right amount of counters. So, but then again, I see Trample as kind of being oh wow, you have a 3/3 with Trample. You know what I mean?
I mean, your 3/3 with Trample isn't going to get through Gruel. It's not going to get through Carnage Tyrant.
Right. And ultimately, I think that the best. Well, this might be a little bit controversial on what to say, but I think that the best form of Lord effect, giving your creature Lord, giving creature something else, is evasion, right? I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, things like Drogsoul Captain is really good. Giving it hexproof, everything hexproof is really good. I mean, giving things flying is really good. But giving things trample, kind of a. I mean, it's honestly a match dependent kind of a thing, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
and isn't there a Merfolk from one of the Ixalan sets where creatures with +1 counters on them can't be blocked?
Yeah, and even just giving something Island Walk.
Yeah.
From going to my modern roots.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's
they
fantastic.
don't do that anymore.
Right. Yeah. But yeah.
On to Gruel.
Yeah, I think so. There's not much more to be said about this. So Gruel has Riot. Gruel is the red green. So Riot says, this creature enters the battlefield with your choice of +1/+1 counter or haste. So I wrote in the script, my judge muscles hurt. So let's avoid the issue that is going to be Riot. The judges have actually already talked about this kind of in depth together as a team. When your creature comes into play, please name what's going on. Say out loud, this has haste, or this has a counter. Because when you play that creature and then forget that you wanted to do something, and then you're like, oh, well, but it has a counter, but actually it has haste because it has no counter on it, but I forgot the choice. So then is it a mystery? It's a whole big slew of things that needs to be avoided. So for you, me, and everyone else, please just say, hey, counter, haste, either one.
Have it decided before you're casting it.
And that's exactly true. This enters with the counter. This is not ETB effect.
Right.
It's entering with either haste or a counter.
You can't respond to it with a lightning strike or
exactly.
a shock. If you've got a 2/2 with Riot, you can't shock it, and then no, I'm putting the +1 counter on it.
Exactly.
It enters with the +1
counter. Right, exactly. And that's important to be said as well. It enters with haste. So things like, for example, you can't disallow, if it were an ETB effect, you could, well, disallow is not standard anymore, but if it was, if we're back to my modern roots, sorry guys, if it entered the battlefield and you want to disallow the trigger on giving it haste so that it couldn't attack, not a thing. Entered with haste. That's it.
Yeah. Now, this is a mechanic I actually like.
I really enjoy it too.
Unlike, it and Simic are both +1/+1 counters, but this is a better use. You've got options, like we were talking about with Azorius.
Right.
Do I need a bigger body, or do I need to just punch in that last few points of damage?
And this card, the one we have printed right here, Gruel Spellbreaker, which is 1 red and green, creature ogre warrior, which I like a lot. It has Riot, so it has that counter or haste. And then it has Trample, and then as long as it's your turn, you and Gruel Spellbreaker have Hexproof. That's a big deal. That's not something we see from Gruel. We don't see Hexproof from Gruel very often. I mean, like, it's kind of a big thing. Yeah. I like this. And I like that also, I mean, so I feel like the haste is going to be more relevant. I personally do.
The surprise attack is always going to be relevant.
But I mean, like you say, that late game, they already have a big board. Your opponent has a big board set up. Having that 4/4 for 3 mana, it feels good. I mean,
I'm a fan of this one. I don't usually play Gruel, but I think this is a very solid mechanic. It's going to play well, and Mark Rosewater again has talked about when they design these, they like the cross guild synergy, and this plays well with the Cynic +1 counters. Even though that mechanic kind of sucks, or is boring from what we've seen so far, I should say. It doesn't necessarily suck. The monstrosity didn't get played a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I like the options. These are both good ones.
Yeah.
And this card is just good.
I like this card a lot.
3/3 for 3 is good curve.
Yeah.
The trample is good. The hexproof is good. And then you throw in Riot.
Yeah.
3/3 with haste for 3. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Turn 3, punch you. Sure.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Definitely. All right. Well, this next mechanic, please take it away. This is probably my most exciting right here.
Orzhov, the Black-White Guild. Afterlife. When this creature dies, create N 1/1 white and black spirit creature tokens with flying. So as an example, we have Imperious Oligarch, a 2/1 vigilant human cleric, Afterlife 1. So when she dies, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token.
I am so excited about this. I love... So, you don't play a whole lot of Modern, I know.
I don't.
And that's okay. But there's kind of this like joke among the Modern community that you can win with Lingering Souls. Yeah. Lingering Souls is like is a 2 and a white for a sorcery that says put 2 1/1 white spirit tokens on the battlefield that has flashback for 1 and a black. So you play it for 3 mana, and then you play it again for 2 mana and get 4 spirit tokens. And it's interesting because you don't really want to spend your resources as the opponent killing spirit tokens.
Yeah, like, you don't want to kill 1/1s.
Yeah, especially tokens. I mean, it's like you just don't want to. And you kind of need to is the funny part. Like, you kind of have to spend time and energy killing these 1/1s because 1/1 flyers, 4 of them, are going to kill you. Like, that is a huge clock. Delver of Secrets is a 3/3/2 or 3/1 flyer when it flips. And that's a huge clock. I mean, it's a big deal. So I love this. I think this is going to see play. And in Limited, oh my God. This is such a, I mean.
Just look at this. It's 3 power for 2 mana.
Right. Vigilance and flying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, it has evasion. I mean, I just love it. I love it.
There's so much value in just that one. And this is a common.
Yeah,
This
I know.
is a common.
I know.
That's so much value. It's so much good stuff.
Right.
And that's a good mechanic, and it's an N, so it can be any number. We've seen an Afterlife 2.
Yep.
So it can go up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then another important thing I forgot to mention for Judge, kind of Judge Corner over here. Remember that this has dies on it. So the dies, that keyword used to mean, well, it still means, but on old cards it was printed when this card is discarded, which means it went from the play to the graveyard. That's what dies mean. Dies means it goes from the battlefield to the graveyard. I see you getting cheeky with that Afterlife trigger over there, but no, it's Afterlife is when it dies, when it goes from graveyard to battlefield.
Go to the graveyard.
Or battlefield to graveyard.
And the other, you made a note of this here, is that Afterlife is a token. So you got Divine Visitation. All of a sudden, that 1/1 spirit is a 4/4 angel.
Feels real good, and it's in colors.
Yeah,
you don't have to splash. Like, it's in color. It's so good. I'm excited.
That's a good one.
Yes, I'm very excited. We have a couple of other fun spoilers over here. We kind of picked. I think you tossed Tithe Taker on there.
I did. This was a white and 1, 2/1 human soldier. Human. So this is where I thought it was interesting. Mm-hmm. During your turn, spells your opponent's cast cost 1 more to cast, and abilities cost 1 more to activate. Afterlife 1. So that's another white taxing effect. It's also a human. Plays into modern humans, possibly. You're getting value with that Afterlife thing, and I was wondering, your modern player, modern humans, this activated abilities cost 1 more to activate. That affects Vile.
It does affect Vile, yes. So firstly, before we talk about this card in like a strategical standpoint, I have to say I love the flavor. I love it. I love taking the tide. Like, it's just so cool. Orzhov. I love how they're really delving into the guilds this time, and it's not just like, oh, cool, we have a extort 2/2. I like this a lot. This is cool. So anyways, Tide Taker, So I can so definitely it's not seeing play in any main boards. It's just not. It's not that great. Like, it's good. Having a 2/1 for 2 mana is fine. But like, I don't know. It's not there. You know, right now we're playing 1/1s to get a counter every time human comes in. We're playing 2 mana cards that counters all of our humans. We're playing things that are, you know, really having a huge impact. Mm-hmm. And to play this main board, just kind of maybe one copy. Now, in the sideboard, I see this having a home. Definitely. This is a thing you're going to play, you know, against whatever it might, you know, things you're going to play against burn. You know, targeting things costs 1 more. That's huge against burn.
Or Tron.
Or
all
Tron
those
even, too.
activating your search effects.
That's a big deal as well, searching.
Your expedition maps,
yeah,
your chromatic stars or
that's
whatever.
That's a big thing. Spirits, you know, like you said about Vial, hitting Vial and Spirits is a big deal. I mean,
mirror match, too.
Mirror match as well. That's a big deal. So, yeah, I do see it having a big home in the sideboard, definitely. I mean, and Afterlife is also good. Like I say, that Spirit, that's not to be discounted. It's a good thing to have afterwards as a chump blocker at least.
Have this out with Thalia?
Yeah,
oh,
definitely.
Man, they're not playing anything for a while, are they?
No, not at all. Yeah, this is nice. I mean, like I say again, you know, sideboard, that's a win, definitely.
Yeah. My next one that I picked were both of the Planeswalkers we've seen. Kaya, Orzhov, Usurper, and Dovan, the Grand Abata. I'm the Abata. Kaya, black, white, 1, +1, exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. You gain 2 life if at least one was a creature. -1, exile target non-land permanent, mana cost 1 or less. So that's very niche. That was Isolate. Was that M19?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then -5, she deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile, and you gain that much life. I know social media was hating on this card. The initial reactions on our Facebook page and in the other places I looked weren't that positive. I really like this.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one for sure.
It's very niche, but I mean, that's hating on graveyard stuff. That ultimate, I mean, it's going to take a couple turns to get there. That ultimate is sneaky good.
You know, I actually disagree this is in any way bad. I'm gonna go that far. I really am. Because, so I play D&T, Death and Taxes, in Modern as well. So I love D&T. This card is going to go in my D&T deck. Here's why. So Dredge is huge in Modern. Yep. Graveyard strategies are huge in Modern, everywhere. I mean, it's a big deal. If you ever play, even in Standard, I mean, it can be a thing. I mean, it's important to know to keep graveyards in check. Exiling 2 cards from graveyard, that usually is a big deal, and gaining life from that is also huge.
It's a nice supplemental effect on
It's
that.
all right. I mean, obviously, it could probably be better, and that's fine. Also, I didn't mention this is a 3 mana entering a 3 loyalty Planeswalker. Yeah. That's the precedent. There we are. We're already at
3 mana. It's not Teferi at 5 mana.
Right.
So we have a lower bar for what is good at turn 3.
But it's also to be said as well that, you know, it's important that this has 3 loyalty when it enters. That is if it was any less than that for some reason, which it shouldn't be, then it would be bad. Like we wouldn't play it. You know what I mean? That's exiling target non-land permanents with converted mana cost 1 or less.
Not great. That one I don't like.
In Modern, I really enjoy this.
Oh, really?
Actually, against humans, we're hitting a lot of things, and against spirits, we're hitting a lot of things. I mean, yeah, it's again not the best it could be.
So why doesn't Isolate see play?
Well, because Isolate is a spell. Isolate is basically, if I'm playing Isolate in D&T, right, I have to take out a card to now put in an Isolate. And Isolate is, like you say, extremely limited. This is a toolbox, right? I'm playing this toolbox, and it happens to be in my toolbox. And therefore, it's kind of like when you're like, well, I guess if it has to have mayo on it, yeah, I'll eat the sandwich.
Yummy.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the mayo, and I'm actually not too angry about the mayo. This is all right.
So because it's a potential 2-for-1, because you take out their item and they have to take care of your Planeswalker. Yes.
Right. And even against something like, and it says non-land permanent, so even against something like, you know, KCI.
No.
I mean, hitting artifacts that cost, I think Chromatic Star costs less than 1. Does Pyrite Spellbomb cost 2 or 1? I forget. But there are a lot of targets there you can hit as well. And then, like you say, that alt is sneaky good.
Yeah, because you're looking at, you hit the Phoenix.
Right.
Arclight Phoenix?
Path to Exile as well. If you path things during the game, those are in exile.
Yeah. But, I mean, you use that +1.
Yep.
You eat the Phoenix.
Feels good.
Then
gain life.
Yeah, gain life.
Right.
You -5, you deal damage for having eaten that Phoenix.
Yeah. No, that's nice.
And with all the Jumpstart cards.
Yeah.
Izzet Drakes. This is a good card against Izzet Drakes specifically because of all those exile effects.
Yeah.
And then just killing them out of nowhere.
And exactly. And Drake hits fast and hard.
Yeah.
This comes down fast.
Yeah.
So that's also very important. You can get it out.
This comes out before Crackling Drake, before Crackling Drake, not before Enigma Drake.
Right. The one frustrating part for me about this card, I have to say, there is a downside. It really doesn't protect itself very well. No. And that is a big problem. And that's kind of what you want to see from Planeswalkers. So, yeah, I mean, that is my one frustration, but otherwise I do like this a lot.
Yeah. And then the other one, Dovan Grand Abata, +1 until end of turn, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on him. That's an interesting take. Blue-white caring about creatures, all right? -1, create a colorless Thopter artifact. You gain 1 life. Okay, I see that synergy.
Sure.
-7, look at the top 10 cards of your library, put 3 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom in a random order. I'm not as excited about him.
No, yeah, neither am I. Not at all. Neither am I.
Again, it's that weird take on Azorius
Right.
that people, I think, are adjusting to, including myself. While I'm not a fan of this specific card, I am, again, a fan of them doing something different with control-type decks. And blue cares about artifacts. This creates a Thopter artifact. White cares about the life gain and the loyalty. So they're in colors. It's different. My biggest thing is Planeswalkers have been very template recently. +1, draw a card. Minus something, removal. -Z, you win the game.
Right.
These are not that. Except maybe Kaya. That one might be. But the +1 and the next one, they're different. They're different. They're very different. I'm glad they're trying something different because as much as people were hating on these cards, people were hating on everything being the same Planeswalker before.
Right. That's true.
It's something different, and I like that a whole lot.
The old Dovan, so I actually looked it up real quick just to talk about it. So the old Dovan had +1 until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gets -3, -0, and its activated abilities can't be activated. So a decent +1. -1, you gain 2, draw a card. Decent. And the -7 was you get an emblem with your opponent can't untap more than 2 permanents during their untap steps. So, I like that they're also kind of maintaining. First of all, they maintain the exact same loyalty, upticks and downticks, which is interesting. This Dovan costs 1 more than that Dovan does, but everything else, the loyalty abilities and the loyalty it enters with is the same.
So that was a 4 mana, 3 loyalty?
Yeah, and this is a 3 mana, 3 loyalty, and it has +1, -1, and -7. So I also enjoy the fact that, at least in my eyes, you really kind of, when you play Dovan, unless for some reason you really want that alt, you're kind of just +1, -1, +1, -1, back and forth. Yeah. Because on this Dovan, really all I'm going to be doing is either, doing that +1 to kind of hose the damage, or and if in the course of that I manage to get 7 counters, great. Or I make it a Thopter, right? I mean, that's kind of, so I'm not really, the ultimate's good, and I want to get there if I can, because card advantage is fine, but I'm really using this as the card advantage type, make a creature, you know what I mean?
Yep. Protecting yourself a little bit.
Exactly. Some of my personal favorites, so Teysa Karlov is 2, a white and a black. We're a legendary human advisor. If a creature dying caused the triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And it also has creature tokens you control have vigilance and lifelink. So I'm not sure where she's supposed to go. I don't know, but I'm so excited for where she does go.
Oh, I know where she goes.
Where does she go?
Aristocrats.
Oh, it feels so good. I'm so excited. Think about your Zulaport Cutthroat triggering twice. Think about your Blood Artist triggering twice. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited for this.
This is Panharmonicon for death.
I'm
Death
so
Harmonicon, as
happy.
I was trying to push.
Also, Vigilance Lifelinks for tokens.
Not bad.
That's a thing.
Not bad.
If you're playing a black or white Aristocrats with a splash of tokens for fun, hey, A-OK.
I know people were looking for this Aristocrats deck, and I think that's going to be fun. With Afterlife, all those tokens, those flying life tokens now have Vigilance and Lifelink.
Feels good.
Oh, that's pretty.
Flying, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Whew.
Yeah, I'm liking it.
Yes.
So I agree with you. Good card. I'm going to build this as a commander.
Oh, that seems good. I'm doing that now too.
You're welcome.
That seems good.
I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah.
You had also mentioned Rhythm of the Savages.
Yeah, this card is still in what looks like Italian.
I have no idea. I'm not even going to insult anybody by trying.
Well, I don't know.
Nope, I'm done.
Yeah, I think it's Italian. but it has been translated to the best of our knowledge. It's called Rhythm of the Savages. It is an enchantment for 1, a red and a green, and it has creature spells you control can't be countered. Non-token creatures you control have Riot. And then the flavor, I like the flavor. Some of Domri's improbable ascendancy as a sign of the imminent return of Ilarg, the raised boar. It's a bunch of boars running toward the camera. This is cool. In a meta where Jeskai control is doing a lot of good stuff, this card is going to see play. I mean, I don't know if it's going to see main board play. It may see 1 or 2 copies in main. But this will definitely, I think, see sideboard play for sure.
I think this sees main board.
You think so?
Your control's pretty big right now.
It is. It's like third in the meta, yeah.
Your creatures can't be countered, and then you get Riot on everything.
Yeah, I mean, that does feel good.
Riot's pretty. And we were just talking how we both like Riot.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking this is gonna be somewhere.
Lana Morales can block.
Yeah,
right? I mean, play that turn with Lana Morales. Oh, actually, I suppose turn 1, what does it matter? You know, the enchantment. But let's say you draw Lana Morales late game. Yeah. You now have a Mana Dark that can block.
Yeah, you draw the turn 1 Lana War, turn 2 Mountain. You play this on turn 2.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Turn 3.
No, Lana War, Forest, and Lana War Elves. Turn 2 Mountain.
Right.
3 mana. Drop it. Turn 3, what are you dropping out there for 4 mana? Yeah.
I mean,
can't be countered and has Riot.
Yeah.
Enters with haste. Oh God.
How about 5?
God.
It's like Reality Smasher, like Charging Monster Soul right there. Boom. 3 mana.
Man.
That's pretty good.
Those Stompy decks that I've been playing on Arena, now I hate them. I hate them all.
I gotta say, real quick sidebar. My wife bought a computer yesterday, a PC. I've had a Mac for a long time. She bought a PC, and now, oh my God, I played like 10 games last time. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's why you've been so busy.
Yes.
Going to Chicago.
Great.
That's what I named my decks on Arena, Chicago.
Chicago, yeah. So I like this. Wow, this next card, the art is so good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Smothering Tithe. Whenever, 3 and a white. Enchantment. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If they don't, create a colorless treasure artifact token. That seems pretty white.
I await your donation. I love that.
Orzhov Priest.
Yeah, no, this is interesting. I mean, I'm sure you play Commander. You know about Rhystic Study.
Oh yeah, Rhystic Study.
This is kind of like so Rhystic Study costs 1, and like what you have to pay 1, otherwise they draw. Yep. But also Rhystic Study is better because you draw cards, and that is better. You know, just bar none.
This is a weakness of white.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. I like this. I mean. It's new. It's different. I mean, it's funny.
Oh, that's going to be played in all the white decks.
I think
white
so.
Doesn't get ramp by itself.
No.
This is a good way to get ramp.
And making treasures is good. I mean, I like it.
Allison Lures, who works for WotC, she on Twitter was sharing, oh yeah, I wrote the art description for this. A guy is spitting out gold, and he sees this first piece. He's like, how'd this coin get there? And then all of a sudden more start falling out. Oh, they go, and that was her actual text. That's exactly what's happening here.
That's amazing. What I want to see is like a game day promo that has on it.
As the flavor text.
That's what I want to see.
I love that. That would be amazing. Now we're going to go the other way. Oh. This is one of my favorite cards.
Ooh.
Pestilent Spirit. 2 and a black, creature spirit, Menace, Death Touch. Now, the part that I really like, instant and sorcery spells you control have Death Touch. Oh, that lightning bolt now kills a 6/6.
That
lightning
really
bolt
good.
does all sorts of things. The anger of the gods hits all creatures for 3 damage, and they all die.
Perhaps this is the reason. Now I'm going to be very controversial here. Watch out. Perhaps this is the reason that Burn plays one Rakdos land.
What?
Do you think so?
Oh,
do you think? I mean, taking down big. Like, let's say you're playing against Tron.
Yeah.
That bolt now kills. What the worm.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it seems like a French thing, but I mean, hey, who knows?
I mean, that Menace is nice to get 3 power on its own, but that's being played for other text. Yeah. And my favorite, somebody I think one of the EDH groups. What do you play with this to make the most of it? Like, electricity. Oh man, I can't say that.
Electrickery?
Word. Electrickery on Overload.
Yep, costs 1 and then 2 to Overload or 1 to Overload.
Red and
1 damage each thing.
Yeah. Red 1 Overload deals damage. 1 damage to each thing. Ooh, Death Touch. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yeah, wipe the board.
We got asked on our Facebook group, how about this in Modern Jund?
Okay.
And my response was, I'm not a Modern player by a whole lot, but just from watching it and looking at the deck list, I don't think so. Jund runs a lot of removal, but very limited damage removal.
So my kind of view of Jund and of the Rock, which we'll talk about later a little bit more, they're like the epitome of fair magic. Like, they're playing big baddies, and I mean, they have some card advantage with like Dark Confidant and stuff like that, but they're playing big baddies, and they're 1-for-1ing all of your things.
Yeah.
So like, you're playing a whatever, and then they're just killing it. It's like dead, and then they're swinging in with big baddies, and that's it. If you can kill the big baddies, they generally lose the game because they have no threats. So yeah, and with this card fitting in there, I don't know. I mean, like, it is good to have that Menace and that Death Touch in there. I just don't know if it has a home. Right. Maybe as a one-of in place of a Goyf. Maybe in, I mean...
See, that was the discussion I was having, is all those other creatures, like you mentioned Dark Confidant, have a lot more utility. That card draw engine, you need that, especially in Jund, because you're answering everything 1-for-1 for the longest time. You can't be doing that the whole game. You're going to run out of stuff. Like, you can't answer 1-for-1. This doesn't help you with that.
Right.
So Goyf has utility. Another one was Fulminator Mage to take care of some of those troublesome Tron lands and other things.
I think that, like, the other thing to take into account here is, like, Spirit doesn't really, this card really doesn't, like, Jund plays Bolt, and Jund what else does damage?
Command.
Yeah, Kolaghan's Command does damage.
And that's really it.
That's pretty much it.
There's a Anger of the Gods on the side.
Right. So, like, maybe I could see this being played in the side, like, in the sideboard with your Anger, like, one of them in the sideboard with your Anger, so that, like, if you're like, oh man, big token matchup, I'm bringing Anger and this in to kind of like get there with that board wipe for 3 mana. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe that's the thing. However, I don't know.
I understand that, and that was a thought I had too.
But that's just so convoluted.
It's convoluted. It's very fragile. If this gets taken care of, you don't have that anymore. Yeah. And again, what do you take out? Because everything else has utility. Like, when you play your Goyf on turn 2 rather than turn 3, that's already bigger than this 3/2. And as you're removing things 1-for-1, Goyf is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. So Goyf's going to hurt a lot more than this thing will.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like
it's a good card. I don't see it in Jund. Yeah. But maybe this... hopeful. Maybe this reinvents the Jund deck. I don't don't quote me on that.
Don't quote us.
Yeah. But it's a fun card. I like it. I like that they're doing this sort of thing, because there was the one back in Tarkir block that your spells got lifelink. Or not, was that...
Instant sorcery got lifelink. Yeah. I forget, it's like something master.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So, I don't know, we'll see.
That's a good card. One more spoiler before we get on to the next segment. Essence Capture, which is another currently foreign translation card. Blue instant. Ooh, that sounds like counterspell magic.
It does sound like counterspell.
I bet some people are going to love this. Cough, Adam Smith.
Uh-oh.
Counter target creature spell. A limit. But counter target creature spell. Put a +1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. Ooh, that seems nice.
That seems interesting.
How does your mono blue deck like that?
I think that'd be interesting. I think that the restriction of creature kind of sad. That makes me sad. But then again, I mean, in the place of Essence Scatter, if you're playing a mono blue deck, this is all right. This is arguably strictly better because you have that. I mean, Essence Scatter says target counter creature spell, so countering target creature spell, and then also getting that +1/+1 counter. I mean, that's strictly better in my mind. I mean, if you're playing mono blue,
you can't say strictly because it's blue versus blue 1.
Fair, but I mean, in mono blue deck, it's strictly better. Yes,
I understand.
Elsewhere, it's not strictly better. So,
before our huge following on Twitter gets into a semantic argument about strictly better, I just wanted to cut that off.
Yes, it's in the deck we're talking about, it's strictly better. Yeah.
And I think that wraps up our current top spoilers. So now we're going to move on to what we considered the top new cards of 2018. So sets that came out in 2018 were Core 19, Rivals of Ixalan, Dominaria, Guilds of Ravnica, Battlebond, and Commander 2018.
Yep.
So that's a lot of cards. And when I did this search, I was using Scryfall, which has a lot of very fun search ways, and they do a lot of fun things. When cards get these funny translation or these foreign cards, they put funny names on them.
Oh, okay.
Before they get translated, because they're a funny bunch. I ran this search of 2018, not reprint.
Okay.
There was over 1,000 cards.
Right. That's why we're going to have not 1,000 cards on this list.
Oh, we don't?
Nope,
we're not running a 10-hour podcast
we're not.
Oh, good.
I cut it down.
I can actually do
things. I cut
things.
it down, I know.
Yeah. So the first one I brought up was Arclight Phoenix.
Can't not talk about it.
No, this card, I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's 3 in a red, 3/2, flying haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've cast 3 or more instant and sorcery spells, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's a good card, and it's become a multi-format star. It's in Modern. It's in Standard.
It is the deck in Modern. Like, it is the top of the meta in Modern currently.
One of the top. We'll get there, because, again, there was a Modern GP this weekend.
Before the GP was this weekend, it was the top of the meta, and it will stay at the top of the meta. I mean, it's a great deck.
Because there's a lot of very good instant and sorcery spells in Modern.
I mean, just cantrippy type.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
1 mana,
1 mana, draw a card, 1 mana, draw a card.
Right.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
The next one, though, this hasn't seen as much play anymore. Nexus of Fate, that blue 5, take an extra turn, shuffle it back in. That Turbo Fog deck that was popular for a while. Not such a big card anymore, but I put this on the list because it created a little bit of a controversy.
It did.
Being that box topper and being so good.
Taking extra turns is always a good thing.
Well, and it's not just that it's an extra turn, it's actually a very good one. It doesn't exile itself, it's instant speed, so with Teferi in the format.
Yeah.
And it just was hard to come by.
It was.
And you had to buy a box, and it was against WotC's stated policy of, we don't want tournament staples to be in there. We just want fun cards.
This, I think, is actually a mistake. I mean, they printed Fire Song and Sunspeaker, and we were like,
oh, this is perfect.
Oh, yeah, cool. It's kind of cool, and like, whatever. And then they printed this, and then we were like, wait a minute, that's a good card. Like, wait, go back.
Right. And could you even name the next box topper?
Nah, nope.
Negative. It's a giant worm, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, and the Indestructible Convoke 16/16.
Yeah. So, I mean, we think this is a mistake. We hope this is a mistake. But which do you think sold boxes?
Fair.
This one.
Fair, yeah, that's fair.
This one sold boxes.
Fair point, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Next up, Ravenous Chupacabra.
Ravi Chups.
Yeah. Black, 2/2. 4 mana for a 2/2 seems bad. However, what does that text say, Landon?
It says, when it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls.
Oh, we've got removal on a stick.
Feels good. You got that 3/4 flying Shalai. Boom, dead. And that's the best part, is like, a lot of decks don't play a whole lot of flying. It's like Golgari. They don't play a whole lot of flying interaction. Very little flying interaction. So having this, like, to shoot down a flyer, woof.
Or just shoot down anything.
Anything. I mean, I feel you. It's
and
great.
leave a body behind that can block. That's nice.
Nice.
I mean, you can call this Ravenous Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
But the downside to this, as good as this card is, it's kind of too good. It makes you not want to play something that doesn't have an immediate effect, like a Niv Mizzet. Like if I'm paying 6 mana to cast Niv, and it taps me out. Next turn you play Ravenous Chupacabra. Oh, bye-bye Niv. You don't even get to draw a card.
Time walked you.
Yeah.
Yeah, took an extra turn. Like, it's a big deal.
So it's that balancing where in a tournament setting, every card needs an instant effect.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't like it. I like Niv Mizzet sort of cards.
Yeah.
Where I'm investing a lot to play this card right now, and the payoff comes later.
Yep, definitely.
So that's me. I know, but I'm also bad at Magic.
This next card, you know when like you get the flu sometimes, and then like you eat like mini tacos or whatever, and you didn't puke because of the mini tacos, you puked because you had the flu. Right. This next card made me hate mono white, even though mono white isn't that bad. Like, it wasn't the tacos, guys. Like, this card is it's History of Benalia. It's 1 and 2 white. You create a 2/2. It's a saga. So it enters. You get the lore counter. Create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance, and that's both the first lore counter. So you get 2 2/2s with vigilance. And then on the third one, knights you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. Blah.
Nice.
Just blah. I mean, how about 8 damage on turn 6 or whatever? Oh, gross. Or turn 7, whatever it is. Gross.
See, I like it. It's a lot of value.
I mean, it's a good card. I just don't like it because it sucks.
And it's good in an aggro deck, and you need to answer, because it's hard to just answer History of Benalia on its own. You have to answer the tokens and any other knights they potentially play.
Because if nothing else, you are getting a 2/2.
Right.
Like that is by itself with vigilance, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just it's a great card. It's frustrating. It's a card that requires an answer ASAP. Otherwise, you just kind of get beat down.
Next up, Goblin Chain Whirler, Mr. Chain Whirly here. Red, 3/3, first strike. When it enters, deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control. Whew, that's a lot of damage for 3 mana. And it was in standard by itself, that mono red aggro, for a long time before some things rotated. And it just took decks out of the format. You couldn't play tokens.
I love this cycle. Like the cycle of Color.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Steel Leaf, great. I mean, it's a great card.
Yeah.
This card, great. Tempest Djinn, sneaky good.
It's sneaky good.
I mean, no one plays Dreadshade very often, but Dreadshade, if it got played, it's pretty good.
The white one gives your other creatures +1/+1, right?
Benelish Marshal.
Yeah.
Great card.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I love this. This is a fantastic card in general.
It's a good card. It just dominated Standard for a little too long, but now it doesn't really see play.
It doesn't.
Even with a lot of 1/1 creatures in the meta, it's just not seeing play.
Maybe buy it up before it goes back up in price.
I have no comments on that either.
Okay, fair. What's the big winner?
Our big winner, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria.
Alrighty.
This thing is all over the place.
You can get one if you chop off your pinky finger.
Oh, gosh.
They cost about that much.
Yeah. White, blue, 3, all sorts of fun things. You win the game pretty much.
Yeah, you win the game.
You're tired of playing Magic.
When I play Teferi, you scoop it up. It's kind of a thing. I mean, it's really just... It's good. 5 mana. I can't even talk about it. I have played too many matches, especially in Modern, where like I'll be playing and I'll be doing this fair magic thing, playing creatures, and they're like Teferi, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to play anymore. Like I gotta go home.
I'm done. Scoop.
Yeah, I gotta scoop it up.
Yeah, it's a very good card. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be even more everywhere because now we're getting Azorius cards. We're getting Hallowed Fountain.
Yep.
We're getting all that fun stuff.
Yep.
Oh, man, that's a good card.
Yeah, I enjoy.
Just a quick comment on 2017 and 18. There were a lot of bannings at the beginning of this year. They took energy out of the format basically before it rotated.
They did.
And prior to that, they had tried banning pieces here and there, and they weren't being so successful. They did some other things over the prior couple of years, like dropping core sets, and they limited answers that were available to people, so people would play with the new stuff. Like, there was no answer to energy. You couldn't steal it. You couldn't lose it. There was just no answers. And then they made the new mechanics, like energy and vehicles, a bit too strong. They were fiddling with things, and you know what? I'm okay with that. I want them to push boundaries. I want them to try new things. Like, those new Planeswalkers, they're maybe not good. I think Kaya is good.
I do too, yeah.
And they're just pushing boundaries.
I think WotC has like a big ebb and flow. Like there are times when they're like kind of like right now I feel like we're pretty seated. Like there are no cards that I'm looking at that I'm like, you know what, this seems really broken. Yeah. We're kind of seated in this nice spot where they've kind of figured out, really good balance. They've got really good cards that are all going to kind of match each other. From what we see so far, it looks nice. And then soon down the road, we're going to have a set that might be like, oh wow, like, this is really kind of overpowered. Like, oh my gosh. So I like it. It's nice. I mean, it's nice to have that kind of ebb and flow of Standard.
And I think they learned things from that down cycle. They brought back core sets, which allows printing generic answers. Yeah. They printed answers in general, which is a good thing. I think they realized, we can't have no answers because then mono red Goblin Chain Whirler gets played. And only mono red Goblin Chain Whirler gets played. Yeah. So we do have a very nice Standard going on, and I think that's pretty exciting.
And one more thing, WotC, like the parent we know they are, doesn't like scolding their kid, doesn't like taking away their kids' toys. Right. WotC doesn't want to ban things. No, WotC wants to give answers for us to fix our own problems. Like that, like they want to be like, look, honey, like you got to play nice. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So for them,
stop playing that mono red.
Right.
Stop playing energy.
Don't do that. So like they don't want to take stuff away, but if they have to, they will. And we don't want that. No one wants that. So.
We don't, because they have an interest in selling packs, selling cards, and us playing the game. Right. Which, if Standard is bad, we're not going to do.
Exactly. Unfortunately, this time we're kind of running a little long on our podcast length. So we won't be able to talk about The Rock this time. Next time, we're going to make it the forefront.
Yeah, we're going to talk all about that Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah, exactly. And the wrestler, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It'll be good. But this time, right now, we're going to talk a little bit more about GP, or Magic Fest, Oakland.
Yeah, so we had this big tournament. I call it big tournament. I got to stop calling it. It was a Grand Prix, Magic Fest, whatever. And the winner was Is It Phoenix, which we were just talking about.
Yep, big deck, huge.
Couple funny notes on this.
Yep.
How Is It Phoenix won is his opponent conceded mid-finals because he had to catch a flight. And which is funny because you would think winning a tournament would
buy you a new plane ticket.
Buy you a new plane ticket, or Wizards would want the people to play that. But I think we've mentioned before that winning some of this stuff isn't all that beneficial to people. And at that point, he made it to the final, so he'd already got his pro points. Because all that new stuff we talked about, all the esports stuff, the changing of the pro league, doesn't happen yet. Is that June?
I think June.
So we're still in this old system.
Right.
So he had enough points to make himself get invited or get buys. Sure.
Gold,
and all this
platinum,
stuff.
whatever color he needs to be.
He didn't need to win to do anything other than win the top prize in this. So catching that flight home was more important to him, which is kind of embarrassing.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think he should, if he was smart, I mean, he would go and say, hey, like, listen, guys, like, this is your problem. Like, I mean, Wizards, like, you gotta, you laid out the system for me. I know they're changing the system fairly, but I mean, he needs what he needs, and he got there. I mean, that's you know.
I mean, if I'm his opponent, like, well, I'll take this free win.
That's
Thank
fine,
you.
yeah,
I also get to go home earlier.
I mean, I feel like as the opponent, though, I'd be kind of like, oh, I kind of wanted to win. Like, I kind of wanted to beat you.
You always want to win, beat the best, because you feel better about
like
it.
You earned it type of thing.
Right.
But to be fair, I mean, I don't know if folks understand, playing at a Grand Prix, so like fairly, like going day 1, winning all of your games, going day 2, winning all of it, it's tiring.
Oh, yeah.
It is exhausting.
14, 15 rounds on day 1?
It is exhausting. I mean, like,
those are each over an hour.
I have watched players, like, so I've been to a couple GPs. I've watched and, like, judged, seeing players at the end of, like, day 1 are just beat. I mean, like, terribly tired. And you can imagine, like, torquing your brain that hard.
Yeah.
From 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. usually. Yeah. It's a lot of work. I mean,
and then coming back the next day.
Yeah, and getting there. It's a big deal.
Now, the second funny note, so is it PhoenixOne? But the top 8 of this modern GP had 4 Krark-Clan Ironwork
KCI, yep.
So it had been gone for a little bit, and now it's back, and everybody's sad.
Yeah.
And
I'm sad.
So that's 5 of the decks. The 6th deck was Hardened Scales Affinity.
Okay.
Which is another artifact deck. Now, I'm, again, not a modern player. You are a bit. That's 5 artifact type decks in the top 8. Was there something special in this meta that artifacts did so well?
Yeah, well, so I think it's important to take a note here. It looks like artifacts are the common denominator, but they actually might not be. So KCI, I actually have a tweet this morning from Saffron Olive, one of the larger people involved in Magic the Gathering. If you don't know who that is, I would encourage you to take a look at MTG Goldfish. But he tweeted this morning, I'm starting to wonder if Krark-Clan Ironworks still being legal in Modern is Wizards' attempt to push people away from Modern and towards Standard Plus on Arena. Modern has a lot of broken decks, but KCI is its own special kind of awful for viewers and players.
It's funny, this sentiment, because he was the one that tweeted that, but other people were playing like, there's got to be a banning. We have a ban announcement coming on the 21st of January. The last time KCI was at the top, I don't think it was 4 of the top 8. It might have been like 2 or 3. And people were like, this is awful to watch. Like Matt Nass, he's the one that pilots this to all the wins, all of the time. And every time he's on, they're like, this is awful to watch. This is awful to play against. It's got to get banned. It's got to get banned. And then it was gone for a while. And now it's back.
So I've actually copied and pasted from the banning site, like from Wizards Ban and Restricted site. Mm-hmm. They kind of give a guideline there, why they and how they ban. So this is what we have to work on. This is verbatim here. Cards are usually banned from play if they enable a deck or play style that heavily skews the play environment. What does that mean? If the card were legal, a competitive player either must be playing it or must be specifically targeting it with his or her own strategies. That's the first reason they banned. So let's talk about that for a second. So I think we both just made it very clear that this deck was gone for a while, came back. I mean, this deck isn't really oppressive. You can definitely beat it. There are ways to beat it.
And when we say it was gone a while, we're talking a few months.
Exactly.
Not years.
It's always been in the meta. Yeah. It is in the meta right now, and it's been in the meta. It's not oppressive. I mean, like I say, I play Hate in the Sideboard enough to beat it happily. So I really don't feel like it meets that criteria. It's not skewing the play environment. The second criteria is some cards are banned. This is verbatim again. Sometimes cards are banned because they're proven to be too powerful in their respective format. While hundreds of hours are spent rigorously playtesting sets before their release, the complexity of Magic makes it nearly impossible to accurately predict all the ways the new cards interact with older ones. So there are no really new cards here. I mean, Scrap Trawler is the newest card in this deck. This is not crazy overpowered. There are some good powerful cards.
Yeah.
But it's not Birthing Pod. It's not, crazy insane type stuff. it's not fit for banning. Everyone doesn't like it, and Wizards might ban it. Here's why: because again, like you just said, it's not fun to watch.
No.
And that is the reason they might ban it. But really, they'll be going against what they've told us, because this is all we know about bannings. They'll be going against that if they decide to ban it, which they might, and I'd be okay with that. Whoa. My alarm clock. I guess I should wake up. No, yeah. So they might do that. Anyways, back to why KCI is winning big. People don't understand KCI. That's the problem. Even as a judge, I have to work very hard to understand how KCI works. It's a lot of, hey, I'm holding my trigger, or I'm holding this trigger on the stack, and it is isolated from its triggering creature. So Scrap Trawler goes to grave. The trigger's still on the stack. I'm going to do this thing and this thing, and you're kind of like, well, wait, and oftentimes actually what I'll do to help players understand that are newer is I'll actually grab basic lands and kind of organize the stack for them, because it gets kind of confusing. Yeah. You have to understand.
And it's a slow combo.
It is a slow combo.
Why everybody hates it.
Exactly. People don't know how to sideboard against it. No one knows how to sideboard against it. No one knows how it wins oftentimes, which is a big deal. And I understand this is kind of not a good argument for later matches, because as you kind of go on, there's more understanding. But even a lot of decks in sideboard, they'll play one shot, graveyard or artifact removal, thinking, oh, a lot of artifacts, bring in my Ancient Grudge, bring in my whatever, kill artifacts. Or they'll bring in, Nile Spellbound that kills the grave or nukes the grave. They're bringing Tormod Script, nukes the grave. These things don't hurt KCI.
No.
And wrong. Let me rephrase that. These things hurt KCI. These things don't make KCI lose the game.
Right.
That's the thing.
There you go.
So it's not unless you're good and you're real lucky and you manage to get it at just the right time. It kind of doesn't matter. You need things like Stony Silence. Does a really good job. It does a good job about hosing things. Rest in Peace is so good. Leyland of the Void, super good. These things that are continuously nuking graveyards, exiling graveyards, big deal. That's what you need.
There's just so much redundancy in it, and so
exactly, and they have so many paths to victory.
Yeah.
They have kind of one main win con, which is that Pyrite Spellbomb, but they can get there by any number of ways, and it's just a lot to understand. So, it's definitely and as far as the eggs, or not, it's not called eggs anymore. It's called Hardened Scales Affinity. It's just a good deck. It does well. It really ramps up quick. I mean, Ravager. People have to read Ravager. I have to read Ravager, Arcbound Ravager, again and again and again, because it's okay, it has modular. What does modular do? Yeah, okay, and it can sack. Okay, it can sack it. Okay, yeah.
It can sack itself.
Right, and which is wait. So you have to do all this weird math, and so that deck wins because it's a good deck. That's kind of where I'm at there. It did a good job and it won. And it's fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
they're very different artifact decks. I was just lumping them together for the point of discussion.
And it's easy to see.
Yes.
You could easily be oh yeah, they're artifact decks, so they have that in common. But I don't think it's that.
All right. What's the misplay here? It's humans versus spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Spirits. You each have a couple Noble Hierarchs out.
Okay.
You, as the human player, also have Staticaster out. Do you use your Staticaster on Noble Hierarch, of your opponent's Noble Hierarch?
Well, I mean, it's a bittersweet feeling, my friend.
Do you realize what the card says? Because somebody at GP Oakland did not this weekend.
Staticaster says 1 damage to target creature and each other creature with the same name as that creature.
Whoops. We didn't make the misplay. Somebody on camera did.
Ruh-roh. They decided to Staticast the entire board except for the Staticaster.
Yeah, and it was kind of tragic to watch. He's like, all right, I'm going to use my Staticaster on your Noble Hierarch. And the guy picks up his Hierarch, points at the humans players, 2 Hierarchs. These are dead. Guy picks up his Staticaster and kind of cries.
Yeah.
It's ooh. So, note to everybody, read your cards, read them again, maybe read them out loud.
I saw, actually, I don't know if it was at this GP, but, I see it all the time, honestly, is not paying for your own Thalia.
Oh.
I will do it, players. Oh my gosh, please. I do that. I make this mistake, honestly, as a D&T player. I play Death and Taxes, and it's a problem. So, yeah, you got to pay for your own Thalia. If you have a Thalia, pay for it. It's easy to be I'm going to cast my Path for 1. It's my Thalia. No. You got to pay 2, guy. It hurts.
Breaking news. A new spoiler that just got announced while we were in the midst of recording. Kaya's Wrath. Hey, what's a wrath?
What's a wrath?
Do we know what wraths do?
Wait, a wrath? Like a skip the board?
Yeah.
Whoa.
For 4 mana.
Is this language coming back?
It is white, black.
Oh, a little hard to cast.
A little hard to cast, but we have Niv Mizzet in standard. That's blue, red.
Yep, fair.
So 4 mana wrath. We haven't seen that in a while. Destroy all creatures. You gain life for the number of creatures you controlled that were destroyed this way.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's getting played.
That seems all right.
Because wraths always get played.
Yep.
And they're usually been like 5 to 6 mana. This is a 4 mana wrath. We haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. And it's not conditional. Like Settle the Wreckage
right.
is kind of a wrath, but it's also very conditional.
Yeah.
It's 4 mana.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big deal.
Fumigate was a 5 mana wrath. Destroy all creatures, you gain 1 life for each thing.
Which was played a lot.
Yeah,
it was great.
4 mana, even at black, white, it's still gonna get played.
I mean,
especially with the shock lands in play.
Imagine black-white tokens. You have a whole board of tokens.
Oh my gosh.
How about gain 10 life?
How about you have all your creatures out that have Afterlife, and now all of a sudden you wipe the board and you have 20 Afterlife tokens out there that might be 4/4 angels because of Divine Visitation.
Cast this, cast Kaya. They all have.
Oh my god! I just built
flying
myself
in
a
life,
deck.
Flight, Blink, and Vigilance. This is good.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, winner. That concludes our super serious topics for today. We greatly appreciate you listening. Don't forget, we are doing our Facebook giveaway. It's still underway. Once we get 75 likes on our Facebook page, we'll be giving away a Judge promo, one of my promos I've received over the years.
You gain entry by sharing the Facebook page as well as tweeting about us.
Yep, tweeting as well. So make sure you go and do that. It's real quick, real easy. We'll be back in about 2 weeks to attempt another not-so-serious discussion. In the meantime, you can send us questions at Facebook, Twitter, and notsoseriousmagic@gmail.com. We are always looking for new content for the show. And be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app. From Adam and me, thank you again.
Thanks, and have a good day.